Hey guys, this is FDL and I'm back with another tournament report. Um, Today's October 17th and this tournament was played 2 weeks ago. That was on the October the 3rd. Um, I picked this one rather than a more recent one because it has the exact rules that will be used to play the World Championships that have just been announced. So that's deck lock for the whole tournament. Well, the World Championships will actually be played in a two-part fashion. So you have a Swiss tournament first and then a knockout stage. This is just a classic best of three single elimination bracket. Other than that, yeah, nothing special about this tournament. Well, actually, like I said, it was played 2 weeks ago. So LightningFury, from the Blue Phoenixes, who actually won that tournament. He's played too many games since that time, so they're not in his history anymore. So we're gonna follow pjoe, who was the losing finalist in that tournament, and he played some interesting players: DOXSTA, Nerul, and Veles, on top of LightningFury, who I mean, I don't think they're 250-ish. That was early in the season, right? Rating really represents their skill level. They're all pretty accomplished players in this game. So yeah, and I didn't really check anything for this tournament yet, so I don't know what matchups we're gonna see. Other than I just briefly checked at the beginning of this game, and pjoe is playing some kind of control Eladwen. So with champion, seductress, and removal like transmogrification curse. In round 1, DOXSTA chose to play Raikka. Raikka is probably the weakest mage in the game currently. Her ability, if you remember, is for 3 shadow energy. You get to buff your ally's attack by 1 and reduce your opponent's attack by 1. And there isn't really the ally lineup required to make Raikka's ability work currently. So yeah, whenever you can draw a fireball for your 3-drop, I think you're pretty happy. Now pjoe has his ability up, which I mean, Eladwen's ability is probably one of, if not the best ability in the game. Maybe up there with Zaladar. Meteor Shower. So yeah, DOXSTA is playing some underwhelming cards. Meteor Shower, Arachnid, Raikka. I mean, if you get the right situation, those cards can be good, but in the current metagame, in the current state of the game, those cards are underwhelming. I wouldn't bring them to a competitive event. It's just a shame because I'd love Voracious Arachnid to be a thing, but yeah. Maybe it might need one more base attack to be something. Then it'd be easily playable on turn 3 and usable on turn 4. But as it stands, it's not really playable. And just a little something I noticed, DOXSTA, he played his Lightning Strike before using Tome of Knowledge, and there he does the same thing again. Even if you have a card that you know it's the best card in your deck to play on that turn, I would still advise to, nice combo here from pjoe, to draw first, because maybe there's something you didn't think about, and you lose nothing by drawing first, but you might make a mistake by playing first and then drawing. So yeah, always draw first if you have the resources to both do a good play and then draw. So yeah, Sorcerer Avandia is pretty neat. If your opponent's controls more than 2, at least 3 or more items, is it even abilities? I'm not quite sure. It was buffed recently. Anyway, you get to destroy one, which is works very well with transmogrification curse, seeing as you can give your opponent items. But despite DOXSTA playing only one Tome of Knowledge, pjoe's Sorcerers of Endia was live anyway, so yeah, very good combo. And now, yeah, pjoe's pretty much taking command of this game. Raikka activates her ability, but it's a bit useless. I mean, yeah, it will force... It might have forced a sacrifice of the Seductress into the Furion Terror, but nice. pjoe elects to disable the FT one more turn. At this point, I mean, even if Raikka gets a couple of hasted guys, she won't be... I mean, it would be hard for her to take over. I really like... no, that's Molten Destroyer, right? I was gonna talk about... what's his name? The new 4/5 Flameborn Defiler. So yeah, with 6 or potentially 9 damage on the board, there's not a lot of thing that can save Raikka here. The new Fatebreak Familiar was buffed to be able to counter abilities of a cost of 3. It's pretty nice. I mean, I've played it a bit. I've played against it a bit. It's never been a huge factor. But it's probably better than pjoe. I mean, all the things it counters are pretty good because usually, I mean, people don't play bad cards. So if you get to counter a Fireball, a Sack Lamb, some things like that, I mean, yeah, you get a pretty decent. Got to attack here. I guess he has a burn spell to finish Raikka. So yeah, Fatebreak Familiar is interesting. If you can make use of the is it Homunculus subtype, it's even better. But then, I mean, you don't want to invest too many resources into buffing the familiar. Okay, Nerul. Nerul's playing Moonstalk. I'm gonna assume it's the Undead Moonstalker build. This is getting a slight nerf. Well, actually 2 slight nerfs, which might be enough to knock it from tier 1. Grave Resistance is getting a sustained cost of 1 HP. That's a decent mill. I mean, getting a curse out of Eladwen is good, but not getting a buffed Harbinger is kind of bad. So yeah, Grave Resistance is getting sustained, and let's see, it would have mattered here. Well, Eladwen won anyway, so I guess it didn't. And Death from Above will get a Woven condition, so it won't be usable in the Undead Moonstalker deck. It was very good. I mean, you could basically play Blood Moon turn 2, then Beacon. I don't know what this card is called anymore, but the card that allows you to draw every time you play an Undead and renew 1 resource. So basically, you could play Blood Moon on turn 2, the Beacon on turn 3, and then turn 4 you can play a 2 or 3 drop Undead Ally, get a card from the Beacon, get a resource back, and play Death from Above, and basically get the board back and draw a bunch of cards. So that was a bit powerful. Maybe not game breaking, but it was good. So yeah, I mean, I don't think Resistance was such a broken card, because it has a lot of counters like Curse and Not Your Mind and Crippling Blow and what have you. And here we see the Sorcerer again. Nice value. But I guess the Grave Resistance was really a big thing for Zaladars or decks that didn't have direct damage or disables, ally-based decks, but I don't know. I do think the sustain cost isn't that big now. It's only 3 HP if you play one. Another nice play from pjoe, so he's gonna be able to remove the Rats of the Forest, getting a lot of value out of those curses, and because curses on top of not putting undead in the graveyard for Nerul to get value out of his Crisp on Hound, it's also making all his sorcerers live. So Fireball on the Shadow Knight with Rat of the Forest out. Guess you can defend that. Give him a card. You save yourself a bunch of damage, which might not be that relevant because Moonstalker doesn't have such a high damage output, especially if you have access to Supernova and you can wipe his board. That being said, there's Overwhelm that can be pretty devastating with this Moonstalker build that's able to build a very populated board. Nerul's gonna wipe pjoe's board here. That's a tough question. Do you take the 4 damage against Eladwen, against a mage with very good direct damage capabilities, given that you're playing a build that traditionally doesn't have any healing? I don't think Undead Moonstalker plays any healing. At the same time, if you don't, you have to sacrifice the Hound, or the Tormentor rather. That card also changed name. Cyclone for 2. Looking for a DFA, I guess, or Captured Prey. Getting any. I get a couple of turns. Won't get draw from Blood Moon though. We hear a Lightning Strike or Sorcerer is pretty nice. Yeah, Sorcerer and Roll Less Travel with Curse. I mean, once he gets those 2 curses up, there's nothing Nerul can do about the fact that all of pjoe's Sorcerer are gonna be at least 1-for-1s. Curse here. I don't know how many sorcerers and RLT pjoe's playing, but so far we've only had the evidence that he has one sorcerer and at least 2 RLTs. He's drawing from RLT and from Tome of Knowledge. That's all we've seen so far, and Tainted Oracle too. Pretty decent draw power. Here the Corpse Shifter kept his stealth despite being turned into an item. I don't know if that could ever be relevant. Despite being stealthed, being on 2 HP, no cards in hand against a mage, it's not very good. A pretty clear victory here from pjoe. A1 pjoe. So in the next round he faced Veles, who took a game from him. Let's check out Veles' win. Banebow is a pretty hard matchup for Eladwen. We haven't seen a lot of Banebows these days, Um, but even in, especially for control Eladwen, this one has Sorcerer of Angel, right? Who's much better than Artful Squire. Ooh, what kind of, I guess that's the Ravager Banebow. So Ravager, I mean, they got some nice buffs last patch, but they're still not there in my opinion. You need a lot of things to go right for them to get I mean, good values out of their cards, like Zealot here. I mean, that was probably the best you can do, get 2 cards out of Crystal Shards, which is, I mean, you play 1 card, you get 2 cards, and you give a card to your opponent, so that's not even card advantage. But then you get a hasted Zealot in. So is that worth it? Yeah, if you can get a kill, it's worth it, but if you're going second, I guess with Banebow you can get it killed more reliably given his pinging ability. Pretty decent board here for Veles. Pretty full hand for pjoe. Veles' Wrath of the Forest should be pretty good here. I mean, even if he loses his whole board, he's gonna get some cards back. But this is the play you want to make as Eladwen. Supernova with your ability up, that's what gives her power in my opinion. Because now unless Veles can sneak in 2 allies, just go ally ability and the board is yours. A Soul Seeker here, yeah, that would put Banebow up a bit. Soul Seeker is kind of card advantage here. Is the 1 Soul Seeker counters 2 Fireball, or even more than that. That's 12 HP, right? Potentially 12 HP. That's 3 Fireballs or 2 Supernovas. Veles is gonna take the board here. Oh, that's a neat trick. I didn't even know you could target Hunter's Gambit with Zealot. It's pretty neat, actually. And yeah, when you're playing Eladwen and you have such a big HP cushion, it's kind of good because you make her Supernova is dead basically. I mean, she can't play Supernovas now because just weapons and Banebow's ping. Veles can deal a lot of damage to Eladwen. Decides to go for the board. Was a 2-cost trap, likely snare trap. Oh, decides to take out his Soul Seeker. I guess being on full HP and having board control, that's a decent move. Using 1 durability for board control. I don't know if Veles knew that pjoe was playing Sorcerer. Demolitionist, that's one of those cards that requires a lot of work to get going. I guess it's pretty decent once it works, kind of like Obelisk. Everybody getting a kill with the Zealot is going to be able to activate Obelisk and take out Tome of Knowledge. So the Ravagers were kinda relevant here. You gotta wonder if he played, I mean, had he played Undead or just Gargoyle, DMT, Shadow Knight, or in Terror. probably would have won anyway. Yeah, there's nothing Eladwen can do at this point. Down to 7 with lethal damage on the board. 2 allies out of supernova range. I'm gonna survive an extra turn, but I think 2 burn cards just to stay alive. This is never great. Spirit Shuriken. It's a pretty cool card. We don't see a lot, but can lead to some blowouts. And usually people don't aren't, you know, ready for Spirit Shuriken. You're thinking, oh, Banebow, I can swarm the board, or Lance, I can swarm the board, and then you get hit with a Shuriken and a hard to kill ally dies for 1 shadow energy. And yeah, this game is over. That was pjoe's first loss of the tournament. Let's see how things went when he managed to beat Banebow. I mean, even if Soul Seeker is pretty hard on mages, Eladwen with a good hand can, I mean, she can beat all her bad matchups. By good hand, I mean anything that has a supernova in it. Obelisk on turn 1. I've seen a couple of players try that, but I'm not a big fan yet. Before you can activate it, it's going to be quite a while. If you use it to trigger Zealot, it's pretty expensive. Well, I guess it's the same cost as the Crystal Shard opening we saw earlier. That you play, you don't get you only get card advantage by killing an opposing ally. This is why Banebow might be good with Ravagers. Can ping and get kills of Zealot, but Zealot doesn't really have a good cheap item to target, so. Path. I mean, the whole board is gonna be in Soul Seeker range, but pretty slow start for Banebow here. At the same time, Eladwen isn't playing Priest of the Light, which is a pretty big blowout card against Banebow. That's a pretty decent move here. pjoe is building up his curses. They even go around Rats of the Forest. It's pretty good removal. Yeah, that's right, against Ravagers. It's not as good as it could be otherwise, because it gives them food for Zealot. I don't know if Nick has Spitfire Hounds, but they could also use some cursed allies. Trap and Oracle. Not a bad board for Veles here. Gonna have 2 turns of ability. Hopefully a Soul Seeker, but Another curse. Nick is still in a good position, but he's gonna have to give cards to pjoe here. Gonna have the board with an out of Nova range ally. And pjoe has more resources than him, so his seductresses aren't active either. Yeah, pretty decent board here. Oh, will pjoe pull out the win? Empty board but full hand. Yeah, you can get a really good value out of Demolitionist, but the opportunities to trigger his ability are so rare. So Lightning Strike Visca, no, did not sacrifice anything. That cost him a fireball, but it gave him the board back. With his 6 HP ally, which is pretty hard to deal with for Banebow, given... I don't know if he plays Perfect Shot. Yeah, he does. I was gonna say we saw Raven's Gambit. So odds are he might not play both, but he did play both, and then he gets a pretty good value out of his Zealot. Taking Sorcerer of Vandia out of targets, but pjoe has a third curse and a second Visca. I don't know if I would have gone for the Hulk here. I guess it depends on what he has in hand. Had pjoe found a not pjoe, but Veles found another Perfect Shot, he would have been in a bit of trouble. But it's all good here, because now he has the board, and he has more board draw power, board presence, and yeah, this is looking pretty good for pjoe now. I mean, despite Nick having 3 expensive allies on the board, he still couldn't do anything. That's I think the weakness of the Ravagers. I mean, even if you're in a good position, you're still in a fragile position. So yeah, I'm not a big fan of the tribe. I mean, when he won last game, was it more because of his Ravagers or his Soul Seeker? Had he drawn a Soul Seeker here, the outcome might have been different, but now he's just grasping at straws. If he could kill his own Almanac, he'd have a mini board wipe, but he's not even there. Nice foil Banebow. Is that the second Visca in this game or the third? Champ Fireball. Oh, Banebow's out of energy. Has no board. Only 1 card in hand. We know he top decked it last turn. mills his own Soul Seeker and gives up. Let's move on to the finals now. pjoe versus LightningFury. Looks like it was a tight match. Going 2-1 to Fury. We have a Zaladar. Is it gonna be the infamous discard Zaladar? Not such a big fan of the discard Zaladar. I mean, everybody's playing it and it's getting some good results, but it's so squishy as it is discard. Antimatter is like, at least in my opinion, the most overrated card in Shadow Era. You need to go very late for it to be good. But Zaladar, I mean, he probably has Soul Reaper somewhere in there. You can see this graveyard with allies. Basically nullify all of Eladwen's burn. Pitching a Shadow Font is good. When you're going second, you probably won't be playing Shadow Font early. You get your ability on turn 4 anyway. Here you can take the board with a DMT or a Krygon. Krygon it is. Like, that's a good move, but still, Krygon is squishy. Nice to anything. Sure. Yeah. I think here would have been a good opportunity to go ability on the Krygon and then an ally. Because Zaladar would have had to use a mind control to gain back the board. The board is still open here. And yeah, that's just a bad draw from pjoe. He had an opportunity to... He still does. Well, now that Zaladar has energy, it's gonna be harder because chances are he has a DMT or Krygon somewhere in there. A Dagger might be the card that pushes discard Zaladar over the top. Gives him a lot of flexibility to deal with a lot of situations. And he even decides to go for Eladwen's face. And yeah, pjoe had a pretty mediocre hand, I guess, in this game. And many opportunities to take the board. Cannot take advantage. Interesting. Well, same thing here. I mean, Lightning could have had the board. Yes, we don't see the player's hand, so we can't know what Lightning's holding. Maybe he knows he has lethal damage, and I guess Eladwen has 2 activations of her ability up, so it's gonna be very hard for Zaladar to maintain the board. But here he has to use both halves as his ability. Sorry. To get the board. I guess had he used his dagger last turn on the Fade Break, he would have been in the same situation, but he 2 HP up. A little misplay here from pjoe, unless he has another Aldown. So gets his point of damage back. Taking out Antimatter with Zaladar has a full hand, 10 resources, only 12 HP, but chances are he's playing Soul Reaper. Eladwen's now on 5, so she can't play Supernova. Well, she couldn't play Supernova for the last couple of turns now. It was getting too low, and Zaladar has a lot of ways to deal damage from Mind Controls and Shadow Fonts and Rampant Krygons. pjoe doesn't have much choice here. He has to go for the face and force Zaladar to have Soul Reaper. Or lethal damage. That'll work too. That's 7 hasted damage. That's a pretty big swing. And that's, yeah, I mean that Zaladar deck has a lot of finishing power. I don't know, had pjoe taking control in the mid game? I mean, now Zaladar has to use his damage to control the board, and he has squishy allies, so yeah, I mean it's a good deck, but I'm not a big fan myself. But you do, I mean that said, that you do need to be ready to face that deck. So play high HP allies, play healing, play haste yourself. But yeah, I don't know if I'd play it in the I mean, obviously it's good, it won that tournament, but yeah, not my favorite deck. Pretty decent start for pjoe here. A Krygon could kill his familiar. Cultist and Brimstone. Oh. So he does have a Soul Reaper. Guessing he has at least 2. Yeah, here pjoe decides to take the board. It would be quite expensive for Lightning to take it back. He can zap the familiar, the seductress, and then the Krygon take the board. It's still gonna give a bunch of cards back to pjoe. Go, pretty big swing. Seductress here would be good. Duchess Champ, extremely good, but yeah, okay. Tome works. Zaladar basically has to spend a Mind Control here. Oh, Eladwen has her Drungeon going. Will she draw in Lightning Strike? Visca is good. You have to assume that Zaladar has a second Mind Control, but he's drawn half his deck. But if he doesn't, and he doesn't, you're in a pretty good position. Zaladar not using his ability tells you he doesn't have a Shadow Font in hand. I mean, with the Krygon he can still kill Visca next turn. So now that pjoe has to build his board. Zaladar plays individually weak cards, the hope that they come together and give him good value. And now they failed him. pjoe can play 2 allies here. Great position. just one. He's assured of having one survive next turn. Infinity Core is pretty bad when you're not drawing more than one card a turn. You want to be drawing your antimatter here, not a Krygon or a DMT or Harbinger. Shadow Font, Shadow Font's a nice card because it gives you a lot of value, like I said, with Zaladar's other cards, but... And, well, one other thing is that you can store the energy and use it next turn, but in a regular game that will last 12 turns, playing a Shadow Font... Playing one Shadow Font gives you one extra use of your ability. Playing two Shadow Fonts only gives you one extra use of ability. So there's basically a one Shadow Energy cost here associated with Shadow Fonts, so I don't think it can be neglected. It's still a very good card, but think about that. Getting the Brimstone back, like here, putting a Brimstone back is pretty bad. You don't want to top deck the Devour. Still pretty low. He's just pretty low on HP, but he has the board and Krygon or DMT could be a little annoying. Lightning pjoe is still gonna keep the board after this. I think he should have shuffled the Krygon back. I don't know what he shuffled, but if he had a choice between Krygon and something else, I hope he picked Krygon. Now you can't even play Antimatter. pjoe's keeping a Sorcerer in hand. This could be a kind of a swing, but Eladwen has her 2 ability uses left. At least he's not going to be in top deck mode anymore, but pjoe still has a wide open board. No energy on, here comes the Sorcerer. No energy on Zaladar either. And the odds that this is a mind control are pretty low. I mean, he had a choice between a Devour and mind control, so it wasn't even a choice. There is a mind control, don't know if it top decked it this turn. If he saw the Sorcerer coming. pjoe doesn't have a lot of allies in his deck. He's running Curse and a bunch of Burn. That was a pretty weak play here, having to RLT the Familiar, but I guess now he has a big hand. He still has the board. Zaladar's health is ticking up, but I mean, he knows he doesn't have to be afraid of a Soul Reaper. Graveyard is basically empty. Curse, really. Curse doesn't change much here. I mean, using the ability would have cost 4. But I mean, if the choice was between playing an ally and Curse, I would have played the ally for sure. Been burned an ally, I'm not quite sure what I would have picked. This is a race. Zaladar is pretty good at taking back the board, so... I mean, Elad is just on 8 HP. She has to close the game as fast as possible. Personally, I think I would have played the Lightning Strike for the Curse. But yeah, for all we know, pjoe has a double Fireball in his hand. At least double. Is it the fabled triple Fireball to the face kill? Maybe not. Nope. Fireball, Tuck, Champion isn't as good as triple Fireball. There's not a lot of things that could have can save Zaladar here. Maybe a living armor, but okay, Brimstone ain't that bad, but a lot of life cards here. Visca, Fireball, Lightning Strike. And Lightning Strike it is. So yeah, control Eladwen. Pretty good. Is it better than Rush Eladwen? I don't know, I think Rush Eladwen can just be so fast that she can beat her bad matchups. But she has no plan B. I mean, she can go long, but against discard Zaladar, who has a very good damage output himself, and good healing, I think Rush Elad is a big disadvantage, and maybe Control Elad is slightly better. This is a play I don't like. Turn 2 antimatter, turn 3 draw off antimatter. So slow. I mean, people still win off of that, but I mean, I find antimatter to be very awkward to play. And okay, here pjoe just gave away the board. I mean, he will have his ability up next turn, but it's pretty weak. Pretty weak position to be in. Zaladar elects to go for Death Race. Guess he has a Krygon in hand. Be able to deal with 4 HP allies. pjoe once again, yeah, no, okay. Don't think you can win by just drawing the game and giving the board away every turn. I mean, even if you build a handful of burn or something, you can't use... I mean, he's already in a position in which he can't use Supernova. Zaladar probably has another dagger, couple of mind controls, and just one Shadow Font, and he has 12 damage, so Eladwen is already in a position where she can't use her best tool. Her powerful ability isn't that good against Krygons, who can just come in and ping her for 2. Shadow Font Krygon, Shadow Font Devourer. Why keep drawing with antimatter? That's why I don't understand. I need to play that card more. But yeah, every time I try, I find it awkward to play. I guess that's the beauty of this game, and I guess a tip to new players. I mean, even if you play a deck that other people tell you is good, but you don't get the results you want to, you should have with that deck. It might just be a case of you not understanding the deck, or I mean the deck just not fitting your style. Don't use it as an excuse to say that the deck isn't good, but I mean there are certain cards and certain decks that I find super awkward to play, like Ed Janelle's Rush Elementalist deck. I mean I play a pretty aggressive Elementalist myself, but it's based on Bloodthirsty and cards like that. So and I can't play. I couldn't play Ed Janelle's deck to save my life. But it's not that different. It's just a little different, and it's the same rush mentality. But it just doesn't work for me. Same thing for like Solo Gwen or Millstalker. I also have trouble. I mean, I can play Zaladar quite well, but Millstalker I find quite difficult to play. And yeah, here Eladwen has no hope. She can't play allies because they're gonna get mind control. Her burn is gonna be countered by Infinity Core. Pretty big hole, but that's what happens when you give the board to Zaladar. I mean, that's his Zaladar's weakness is playing a bunch of allies that he can kill, or he has to spend a lot of resources killing. And it's not gonna happen if you if you keep bouncing your own guys. So good show pjoe, making it to the finals, stretching it to 3 games, and congratulations to LightningFury and the Blue Phoenixes for winning that tournament. Well, that was pretty good. We saw a bunch of archetypes, right? So Raikka, tier 3 deck, won't cut it in a competitive environment. Neryl's Undead Musaka is pretty good, and you should be ready for that deck. Never discount it. I mean, it's kind of hard to tech for both Undead Moonstalker and discard Zaladar. I think that's the dilemma in this metagame. Expect both decks, and try not to be fragile to not be fragile to both decks, because you're gonna play them. Yeah, Ravagers, I'm not a big fan. And if it gets rolling, it can win. Well, obviously, I mean, Veles made it to round 3 with it, but still don't think it's a factor. And discard Zaladar, pretty good deck if it's your style. Same as control Eladwen for pjoe. I still prefer Rush Eladwen, but I know a lot of people get a lot of good results with that deck. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, and don't forget to practice and get ready for the World Championships, which are starting on November the 15th, if I'm not mistaken. Check the main forums for that. Okay, so see you later.